I think we're live. I first want to thank everybody for joining today. I want to thank the alumni, those that are working in districts, and then our students, the juniors and seniors. This will be posted on the Google Classroom for the class of 2022 and 2021. And we're going to get started. There's some questions that I wanted to ask our alumni, and then we'll move on from there. Those current students that are on the call, if you have a question, just raise your hands and you can either unmute yourself or you can type in the chat. And then all these guys have great experience that they can share with you. So I'm glad that you guys joined. So the first question, I'm just going to ask for you guys to introduce yourselves. Tell us kind of where you are currently as a student, what year you're in, what's your current major, and what you're affiliated with at your school. So Cam, do you want to take our first question?
Yeah. I'm Cameron Ward. I'm a freshman at Stonehill College in Easton, Mass. That's about like 30 minutes south of Boston. I'm a bio major there. I want to become a PA in the future, so that is what I'm studying now, and I'm on the women's basketball team at my school.
Thanks, Cam. Naz?
What's going on, guys? My name is Nas Whitley. I'm a sophomore at Raritan Valley Community College. That's in Branchburg, New Jersey. So from Boundbrook, it's probably 15 minutes roughly, not too far. I'm a business major. My career field that I'm going to aim to get in after I graduate is become a firefighter. Just having my business degree as something to fall back on, and it'll make it easier for me to climb the ranks to make the really good money. I'm in the EOF program at RVCC, and that's it.
Thanks, Nasir. Daniela?
Hi, everyone. My name is Daniela Cruz. I graduated from Boundbrook High School in 2017. I'm currently at Rutgers University, New Brunswick. I'm a senior majoring in applied sciences engineering with my packaging concentration. In regards to like clubs and affiliations, I'm also part of the Educational Opportunity Fund program, and I'm also serving as president for the Society of Hispanic Engineers chapter at Rutgers.
Thank you, Daniela. Cardell, take it off.
Hello, everyone. My name is Cardell Wiggins. I'm also a senior. I'm at Rutgers University, the North Campus. My major is applied math, and my minors are urban teaching education program and history. Some of the things that I've been involved in here are Jumpstart, working with like preschoolers, peer connections, the educators. I did track and field my first year at Rutgers North. I'm involved in GSL resident assistant, and I was also a part of a like spiritual dance club.
Cool. Thank you guys all for joining, and I think everyone's really going to learn a lot from this presentation. So first question, I'm just going to open it to the panel. It's basically about your first year experience. So transitioning out of Boundbrook High School and getting to the school of your choice your first year, kind of talk to us from the application process to your first days on campus to being in your classes, and if you're dorming, kind of your dorming experience. Like, tell us the transition from Boundbrook High School senior to freshman year at your school. Whoever wants to take that first, go ahead.
I can go first. So I only applied to one school, and it was obviously the school I'm going to, through Common App. But you can apply to multiple schools through the Common App because they give multiple prompts. But yeah, so I applied through there, and from during the application process, I remember having to get many recommendations from my teachers. So I think that's probably like the most important thing to gain a good relationship with all of your teachers and think about who you would want to get a recommendation from. And also, if you really know what you want to do, a better recommendation is maybe if you want to go into the sciences, get a recommendation from one of your science teachers. That's just, it looks better. But from there, I moved in, obviously in August, orientation, obviously dorm shopping is fun, but, I think just living in a different state, I recommend doing that and going somewhere that isn't usually where most kids go from Bound was a good choice for me because I feel like I'm like around people who like grew up differently than me and who've had a different experience in schools and just in a different environment in general. And I thought that was just a really good choice for me. And it like kind of like brought me like, it threw me down a level because like I realized like not everything is always what you think it is. And it was just a good learning experience for me, even though I've only been there for one semester already. I've already learned a lot. So definitely recommend that. And I think just like the biggest thing that I learned, like the transition, was you can be like the smartest person in high school or you can be a really good student, but as long as like if you're not like keeping up with your work and like passionate about what you're learning about or determined to get all your work done, you won't succeed. So it's really up to you. It's not like your teachers aren't pushing you anymore. It's really you pushing yourself to be better.
Thanks, Cam. Anyone else want to talk a little bit about their first year experience?
Yeah, I can jump in it as well. I was trying to think about how like my application process went, but I kind of forgot because it was a couple years back. But I do agree with Cam. I think for me, when I actually applied to all in-state schools because I actually really wanted to stay close to home. So I'm very family oriented, so I knew I wanted to, stay in New Jersey. Um, I think I applied to each college, like its own application, I believe. I'm not too sure about that, but definitely make really good connections with like your teachers, or if you are involved in any other organizations or like do tutoring somewhere else, like those are great people to go to for letter of recommendations. For example, I tutored a lot at the library here at Bound at the Memorial Library, I think it's called. Um, and I asked them for a letter of recommendation. They really helped me out a lot as well. And then similar to what Cam was saying, like Bambrook is a pretty small school. So for me, for example, I think my graduating class was around 150 people. So I almost knew everybody. And then going into Rutgers, it's like a huge school. I think the School of Engineering itself was like 9,000 students. So obviously, I'm not going to know everyone. But what helped me a lot as well was I actually was admitted through the Educational Opportunity Fund program. And this program is specifically for historically underrepresented students who come from like low income communities. And they really helped me like prepare for college because we do like a summer program and they give you take like your classes that you're going to take when you're a freshman. There's one class that that does go towards your transcript, but the rest of them are just to like give you a feel of like how the classes are going to be because you take a lot of maths and sciences, so it's very like rigorous. They have like a tutoring plan incorporated into the summer program, so it just makes it a lot easier for one to get adjusted to it. So I think like that for me helped me a lot when I went into Rutgers. But I think yeah, like that's about it for like my college application process.
Thanks, Daniela. I can move on unless anyone is super passionate about answering this question. My next question, since Cardell, we haven't heard from you yet, was to talk a little bit about college pre-pandemic and then currently during the pandemic. Kind of what's changed for you? Has it been more difficult as a learner at the university level? Or, what are they to expect that maybe will be different when they become an upperclassman?
Okay, so college, I would say pre-pandemic. That was like mainly my freshman, sophomore, and then a little bit of my junior year. So freshman year, I would say I came in mainly with the focus of being a student athlete. So that was like I feel like that was a little bit different compared to all my other years. Like I had priority with classes, like choosing classes and stuff like that, and I feel like that was helpful. In terms of learning and everything, I felt like I was going to learn more then compared to now. Kind of what we talked about a little earlier. Post-pandemic, I'm still on campus, right? Because I'm a resident assistant. So it's been a little bit of a different transition, but I feel like it's a little easier in terms of, I guess like the physical stress that you get from school. You don't have to really wake up to actually be physically present in class. You can just be in your room, doing your work and things like that. So I found like that was a little bit easier, and it showed in terms of my grades as well. But you really miss out on the social interaction, and it feels like you're, I guess, missing this piece of college. Because like as in like the first 3 years, like you would have study groups and all that stuff, and it was like it felt more real. Like now it kind of just feels like you're just getting your work done like by a certain deadline. So there's pros and cons, but this is a situation that we're in, so we kind of just have to, deal with it and do the best that we can.
Really good answer, Cardell. Thank you. Um, Talking about adversity, pros and cons. I don't know for the freshmen or for the upperclassmen, if anyone kind of faced any adversity at school and kind of how they overcame it. It doesn't have to be super personal. It could be academic. It could be in the dorms. It could be a struggle that you faced, and kind of who is your support system at the university level. It's different than it is in high school, and how'd you overcome that, right? So I think everyone in college kind of experiences a little bit of that. Freshmen, maybe not as much, but if anyone wants to take that, please jump in.
I could start off.
I can answer. Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
Okay.
Go ahead.
No, I just want to say, I guess, like in terms of adversity, I really lean towards like my family, like mentors, my friends, and all like my friends here as well as my friends from high school, because like not all of them, let's say, finished college, or not all of them went to college and stuff, and they're just kind of giving me the motivation, like, hey, like, yo, you're almost done, like, just keep going. It's things like that. So it was like the little things that really kind of keep me going, because coming out of high school, we all graduated and like top of the class, academically and stuff like that. And it was like, oh wow, I'm about to go to college. Like this is about to be light. And that was not the case. Like it was definitely challenging. I've definitely had to retake like a few classes and stuff, and that was the reality. And so just kind of getting over that, like having those people in your life that are pushing you, and you know, it really helped, honestly, because there was points where I'm just like, I'm done, and then everyone's just like, keep going. So that's kind of what I would say. Just hold on to those people that are gonna uplift you.
I was just gonna say, like, as a student athlete, I don't know if anybody even wants to do like the intramurals, but I think the biggest thing was kind of separating like school from athletics, like mentally, and like going into a different environment and like forgetting about everything else for a bit. I think just you can also like think about like having like a passion you like to do on the side of school. I think just school, like doing that sport or like having a different hobby, like helped a lot when you are stressed. So like falling back on that helped a lot. And even if your hobby might be stressing you out too, I think just like taking alone time like for yourself and self-care is like really important.
Thanks, Cam. Specifically, I'm going to ask this to one participant. It's about your first year experience, Nas, and it seems like it wasn't what you expected. So we transferred from a 4-year school to RVCC, and you're killing it at RV. So maybe talk a little bit about if school is not what you expected, or when you realized that, and how you kind of pivoted from that. So take that one away, Nas.
Gotcha. So all throughout high school, my main focus besides on grades was football. That was just my love. That's the only thing that I was focused on outside of school. That was my goal. So football pushed me more and more every day to get better grades, because I knew that the higher my GPA was, the more scholarships I can get and the more recruiters would talk to me. So all throughout high school, the reason why I kept going hard was because of football. So when I got recruited to play at the school of my choice, which was Caldwell University, which is maybe 45 minutes from Bound Brook. It's kind of by Montclair. That was a school of my choice. So when I got recruited there, all the money came over. I got a good grant. Everything was perfect. So going there, I thought I was the man. I thought, man, I have a spot, which I did have a spot. So once I got, throughout many camp and practices, that's when I started to open my eyes and really see that the thing that I loved so much, and revolved my life around was actually bringing me pain at the end of the day, because I started losing the love of the sport. So once I really noticed that I didn't want to do it no more, my whole drive and passion to go to practice, it just changed. And me, I don't do anything unless my heart is in it. So the fact that I didn't want to go to practice and then play in the scrimmages and double sessions, that's when I noticed that my heart wasn't in it no more. So this is a piece of the adversity I faced. It was hard for me to let go of football, but once I noticed that my heart wasn't in it no more, I just said, I just gotta stop. So I went to some people that, their opinions really do value to me. Then I decided to let it go and then move on. So I finished my semester at that specific school. Then I transferred to RVCC. So I don't know how it is now, but when I was in high school, a lot of people frowned upon RBCC. Everyone would say, why do you want to go there? You don't want to go here. You don't want to go there. And I was never one of those people, because I just didn't want to go to RV just because of football, because they didn't have a program. But I knew that if I wasn't playing football, RVCC would be a great program to fall back on, because they're ranked pretty high in the country for community schools. So once I transferred there, everything was completely different. The whole atmosphere was completely different. No one was trying to just put on this, this false face or do anything like that. So once I saw that, it kind of opened my eyes to, wow, this is like an actual different school. The people are nicer. The professors care more. I actually feel welcome here. So I got through my first semester way better than I did at my previous school. And I'm really happy that I did make that decision. Money wise, I was basically paying maybe $2,000 a semester to go to Caldwell because of football and my grades. So I was definitely grateful that I didn't take out any loans or go into debt. At least I could say that I let go of football on my terms. And at RV right now, I'm not paying anything. And I love the school. I love the environment. The programs there are wonderful. My grades are good. So, it was hard for me to let go of that, but I'm glad I let go of it. And for any athletes that's in here, any underclassmen or anyone that's going to watch this video, if you think sports is meant for you, that's great, but always have a backup plan. My backup plan was always firefighting. Whether I went to play in the big leagues or whatever, I always had a good backup plan. So at RV, I'm actually fulfilling that in small ways. So hold on to what you think is meant for you and always have it as a backup plan.
Thanks, Matt. Well said. I'm going to open this up to some of the current students at Boundbrook to see if there's any questions. I have more. I just want to give you an opportunity to speak up if you have a question. Again, you can type it in the chat or raise your hand and take your mic off. I'll give you a few seconds and then I'll move forward if there's no questions. All right.
I have a question.
Go ahead.
Well, I'm a junior at Boundbrook, so I still have a year left. But my question is, was college like what you guys thought it was going to be? I feel like right now I have a lot of ideas and expectations of what I think it's going to look like. But I'm sure some of those aren't going to like be fulfilled. But like was college, and I know a lot of you, like I know Cammie's a freshman, so I don't know if she's gotten to like actually be on campus yet. But like, is college what you guys thought it would be? Like, did it meet your expectations? Did it not?
Can I take this one? College actually did meet my expectations. You hear all the hype and everyone saying, you lose a lot of friends from high school and college, you're really by yourself. It's actually true, because a lot of the people that you spoke to in high school, your friends, you really do lose a lot of them, because not everyone just is on the same mission. Not everyone has the same focus. Some people think school is not for them. So you start to see that once your classes get a little bit more hard and you get deeper into the semester, you do fade away from your friends and other people you used to talk to. Grade wise, your grades is significantly up to you. No one's going to hold your hand. No one's going to beg you to, retake this assignment. No one's going to actually give you, extensions. It's all up to you. So grade wise, you have to push yourself. You're not going to have counselors going to say, hey, man, you could do this. You're almost there. You're not always going to have people like that. So I think in high school, thankfully, I switched it around, junior, senior in high school, to where I didn't need anyone to motivate me, because I already had it. But in college, I also needed to maintain that level of focus because one, the classes are harder, they're a little bit bigger than, Bound Brook, and you're literally by yourself. So my expectations was pretty high in college, and I definitely did, meet those expectations.
I can answer this too, because obviously with the circumstances, my expectations going in were lower because I knew I wasn't going to have the same experiences as all the other people who've experienced college before me, like the normal way. But also, I didn't know what I was missing either, which kind of like helped me out. Like, I didn't know, like, if, say, for Nas, he went away, he experienced a normal experience, and then he went to what we are now, and, it's like all the restrictions. So it was kind of probably like a harder transition. But I kind of just went in like thinking like it might not be ideal, but like take what you get basically. I was actually in person and almost all of my classes were in person as well. Some were like hybrid, like some half the class went in, half didn't. But I actually like it did exceed my expectations. I was also like in more of like a town environment. So it was like a closed-in campus, but if you're probably like in a city like New York or California, it's probably going to be different. Because the regulations will probably be different since it's more of like an open campus. So that's probably something to think about. But it's kind of like what you put into it is what you're going to get out of it.
I think that was a great question, right? And I think we had two great responses from Nas and Cam. I'd be interested to hear from either Cardell or Daniela on the same question, just because they did enter college out of high school in a different time, right? There was no pandemic. So for you guys, what were did it meet your expectations, or was it a little lower than what you anticipated?
Okay, so I can go. So at least for me personally, it exceeded my expectations, and that was more so because Rutgers is a big school. So I was very like afraid and nervous that I was gonna be like lonely the entire time. I was like, I'm not gonna make friends. Like talking to teachers is gonna be like really hard. Like I already knew like everything that I did was kind of like it was dependent on me. Like how Cam said, college is kind of like what you put into it. So I was like how I mentioned previously, I was part of EOS, and that really helped me. It gave me a really huge support system. I had like my own advisor essentially. I knew professors beforehand. I made a group of friends before starting my freshman year as well, so that really helped me, and that gave me a lot more confidence starting Rutgers, because I knew that I had them to like rely on. Like they were supporting me along the way. What else happened? Let me think. Sorry, I forgot the question. But I think that really helped me. And then aside from that, like kind of as like the semesters went, like professors have like office hours, although like they're really big classes. Professors, like if you talk to them, if you reach out to them, they definitely take the time to help you out. Like they're there for their students as well, which was really nice to see. I personally didn't figure that out until like probably my second semester. And then after that, like I would reach out to my professors, I think with students as well. Like since at Rutgers, at least like the classrooms are really big. It's over like 200 students. It's actually really easy to make friends when you're in person, at least for me. So each class, I would always try to have the goal of making like 5 friends, because you never know like when you want to do study groups or you want to study for a test or things like that. So that was really neat. And I think outside of academics too, like Rutgers has a lot of like the different campuses. So there's always like little food thing, like not food things, but like food shops. So like there's like a Starbucks. What else is there? I think there's like Taqueria, like on Easton. So those friends also transition to like becoming like not school friends, but like friends, real friends, I guess you could say. So it was really neat to just hang out in between classes and stuff like that. So for me personally, like it really exceeded my expectations. I felt like I got that college experience that people really talk about.
I'll add on real briefly too. So for me, coming to Rutgers Newark, it's a smaller campus. It's really a commuter campus, but they do have housing here. And so for me, I did choose to live on campus my first semester and first year. And so the one thing I like about this school though, like it's really, they really focus on the social justice lens of things, and also they're very big on community. So that played a major role in my decision for coming here, as well as like I guess it had an impact on what I thought about like my first year here. And it's really smaller scale, so I felt like reaching out to my professors and everything would be a little bit easier, being that there's not as many students in some of my classes. Also being a part of like a cohort, like a group of students inside of like my minor, that I felt that was easy because I had like a I forgot the name of it, but basically we had like a lady that would help us like with our schedule and everything. And it felt like it was kind of personal, like one-on-one. And so I appreciated that as well when I made my decision to come here. And so basically overall, like what really I feel like is helping me to be successful was just like that, like I guess asserting myself, making myself available to the professors, as well as like them meeting me halfway and being open with me and working with me, I would say throughout my years here.
I just got a quick thing. Daniela, you said something about every class you went in, your goal was to always make at least like 5 friends. My quick thing, because when I was gonna recruit it from this one coach, and he told me college is not about the grades you make, it's about the hands you shake. And I just kind of brushed it off, but when I actually got into school and that really manifested before my eyes, I was able to see what he was really saying. Always try and make connections with the teachers, your schoolmates, your janitors, the cafeteria people. Always, because you never know how they can help you in the future. You never know what that nice gesture might mean to them, and how they might actually react to actually give you a seed, or a blessing in the future. So that's just my little thing. Always try and make new people, new friends. You know what I'm saying? Always networking. Good job. That's what it is, networking.
Well said by all of you guys. It sounds like there's a lot of differences between Bound High School and kind of where you guys are now. There's also some myths to college. I don't know if it's like a two-part question. What's the biggest difference between kind of your experience at Bound Brook and then your experience at your schools? And you guys have talked a lot about it. And then are there any myths that we can debunk from college? I mean, when I first went to school, I thought I'd be completely on my own. I didn't think the professors cared. I thought I'd just be a number. I had this kind of fear of the next level of education. So I don't know if you guys have experienced anything that you were like, wait, that's not exactly the case at my school, or what the biggest difference is between your education at Bound Brook and what you guys are doing now. I think at the collegiate level, kind of overall, it's just like a more serious academic environment. So that's kind of the most obvious answer. But if you guys had any other things to add, please do.
Real quick, I was thinking back to when I was there, like Danielle and I were there, and how like just like I guess the scheduling, like we would have the same classes every day. From my understanding, I think you guys do block scheduling now. So I feel like maybe the block scheduling it's a better setup to prepare the students for what the college life is like, because like you'll have classes like Mondays and Wednesdays, or Mondays and Fridays, and like Tuesdays and Thursdays, like that. So I feel like that's one way that's preparing that can prepare students, I feel like, more for the college I guess like workload. And then I had one more thing, but I forgot. So you can come back to me.
I was also going to quickly add, I feel like we touched upon it a bit, but it's definitely, you're kind of like on your own schedule. So in high school, like going back to like what Cardell said, like your classes are already made for you. Like you just look in the mail or you look on Genesis and it's like you're taking these classes, and then you have people that are constantly on top of you. Like I know for now, like for example, like if my brother does not log into class, like the phone is ringing, like where is he, like stuff like that, right? But when you get to college, like it's really up to you. Like if you skip class, like you skip class, like you really can't do anything. Like the professor's not gonna like send you an email, he's not gonna really like call you and be like, hey, where are you? Everything is like up to you. And then aside from that is like you really become more independent. Like you really have to have like those fundamental skills on like knowing how to manage your time wisely, because your schedule is going to be all over the place. You make your own schedule, so like You could have classes in the morning, you could have them in the afternoon, you could have them at night. It really depends. You also have to know how you want to learn. So that's also like another big factor. So professors are going to be there and they're going to teach you the material, but it really depends on how you personally learn them. Like, will you take notes? Like, will you like kind of like, I know like a friend, she like recorded the lectures. Of course you have to ask the professors, but that's what she would do. I personally would like, after my classes, I'd go to the library and kind of run over my notes just to ensure like I learned them. So it's small things like that, like the nitty gritties that you really have to establish, which made me kind of realize like when I was in college, it's all up to me. Like I'm independent, whereas at high school, I was like, I had people pushing me and were like constantly reminding me of small things. So I think that was the greatest difference.
Thanks, Daniela. I don't know how many students are still on. I don't know if there's other questions from students. Definitely want to give you guys the opportunity to speak.
I have another question. I'm sorry. For like, I know you have to write, depending where you apply, like you have to write college essays and stuff. Like, what was the hardest thing when it came to that? When it comes to applications, and like, what were sources that you used to help you out? Like, I don't know how many of you guys had Mr. McDonald, but I know he's been there for a while. For English, like, I don't know who you guys talked to help you write your essays or apply in general. Like, was there people you knew? Like, did you reach out to certain people?
I took SAT prep with Mr. Jacome, who was a excellent teacher. He showed me everything about applying to schools, this and that. So my thing, I used the Common App. I went on the actual school's website to make sure like the questions matched on the Common App. I even did some applications on their specific website. And for some schools that required you to write an essay, I would write it out and I would take it to my English teacher at the time was Mrs. Del Conte. So she would look over it with me. We would sit down. We would try and choose different words that just, jazz it up a little bit. And then I would get it looked over again by someone else and someone else just to make sure that, it really made sense. Then that's what I would do to send it in. So I know it's a little bit different now virtually. I'm just assuming that any English teacher that you have, if you're telling them, you need help with an essay, they'll get on a quick meeting like this and kind of, walk you through it. Like, the teachers at Boundbrook really do care. So as long as you put in the effort and, try and just handle your job, they'll definitely see you all the way through. And Mr. Appizato and Mr. Hanaway are always there. Trust me. I asked them a million questions and they had the answers. And if they didn't, they always brought me to somebody that did. So definitely stay with them. You'll be fine.
Thanks, Naz.
Yeah, just to add on that too, like kind of like what Naz said, go to like different teachers. Like don't just, Mr. McDonald obviously is a good teacher and he helps, but get other opinions too. I don't know if Mr. Ross is still there, but he's a really, really smart guy, and he's a different type of like English teacher. I feel like he's like super creative, and sometimes that's just what schools are looking for now too, to like really think out of the box and not the same things, maybe about like things about like death or like who changed you, like your mom changed. Like he like really like spices things up, gets you thinking differently. So I definitely recommend going to him.
Thanks, Kim. I can open this up to the panel now if you guys have anything. I don't want to keep everybody too long. I do have some questions that we haven't gotten to. But if there's anything that you really want to communicate to the current underclassmen or seniors at Boundbrook, this is kind of maybe your time to let them know. We appreciate kind of, everything you've given us, and we've touched on a lot of topics. Hopefully we get to do this again, and, we get more students to sign up. But if there's anything that we haven't talked about that you guys feel like is important to share, I think maybe now would be a good time to talk about it. Or if there's any questions from the current students on the call, feel free to jump back in.
I think one of my I have two main things that I definitely wanted to say, but one of them is dealing with finances. Besides, financial aid and the tuition and everything. Anybody that's a junior or a senior, once you graduate, you're going to have a whole summer before you go to school. My biggest advice to you guys is get a job and save up. Unless, you know, you get a lot of support and stuff from your family and your parents, that's different. Me, in my case, I wasn't in that position. So besides, you know, paying for college, I had to worry about money for food, for clothes, you know, for, you know, my dorm supplies and everything like that. Like Cam said, that dorm shopping was fun, not for me. I hated it. You know what I'm saying? Because that, man, the receipt killed me. But my biggest advice to you guys is just save up, save, save, save. Meek Mill said, if you save your money, it'll save you. So just save your money, save it, save it, save it. Even if you're putting up 10% of your check, just put it to the side, just save it because you're going to need it. Me, I hated the food at my first school. So it was even 11 o'clock in the morning before my jazz class. I was eating a 4 for $4 from Wendy's because that's the only thing that I could just eat at the time. So if you just save your money, I promise you, it will save you in the long run. So just save it, save it, save it. My second thing is, you know, leaving out of high school, going into college is a big jump. So, you know, in high school, in middle school, and elementary school, you're going to school because your parents is making you go to school. So you're not really understanding why you need to go. Your heart's not in it. You're just going because you have to go. But in college, it's completely different. So my biggest advice to you guys is find out why you're going to college. Find out what's pushing you. Where's your heart at? And hold on to it. Because I feel like in life, people don't give up and stop doing what they're doing because they get tired and because it's too hard. People give up and stop doing what they're doing because life makes them forget why they do it. So hold on to what is really pushing you and making you go higher, and remember it, because you're going to have times where you have an essay that's due at 12 o'clock and you're not going to start it till like 10:30. I'm just being honest. And I mean, that's a time where it's like, man, do I really want to turn it in? Times like that is when you're really going to second guess yourself, but you need to just hold on to what really matters to you and just rock with it. Like me, my main thing is I don't want my family to ever be broke. I don't want my family to ever miss a meal one more time. Like I don't want my siblings to ever have to go through what I went through as a kid because I'm a little older than them. And my thing is I never want my kids to ever see me down like I see my parents. So that's what I hold on to, and it pushes me forward every single day, and it made me to who I am today. But that's just me. So my biggest advice is save your money and hold on to what you really think is mainly important to you and pushing you to go forth to school. Maybe it's you're going to be the first one in your family to go to college. That's a great example. Hold on to that, manifest it, put everything in line to make that come true, and rock with it. That's my advice.
Well said, Nas. Thank you.
I kind of want to go off of that. I feel like one thing that Nas did talk about is like, I guess, financial stability. So like most of the time, like you really will work during school. So that's going to be also another challenge that you kind of have to think about, like what kind of job do you want, or does your school offer work study, or how's that going to work, you know, with the pandemic and everything. So that's one thing you want to think about, and also think about or always have like active communication with whoever employs you, like your employer, wherever you're working, like always, you know, give them your schedule, leave a day for yourself in case like you need to do homework or any last minute assignments, or just like that time, like kind of what Kim said, like where you need for yourself, like where you do an activity, like I paint, you guys see paintings around, I paint like in my downtime. So leaving just that time for you to just de-stress and not have to worry about work or school or whatever the case may be. And then my second thing, is scheduling. So over here, I have a calendar. Like the calendar is crucial for me. Ever since my first year, when I was a student athlete, like one of the coaches was like, "Oh, like, do you have a calendar or a planner?" I was like, "No, what do I need a calendar or planner for?" And then she was like, "Oh, like so that way you can write down like all your assignments and everything like that, and when they're due and stuff." And so I've been using it ever since. Like I've been planning when I want to work on an essay, or when I want to have this project done by, or when is it due. All that stuff I write down, and it helps me plan. It's been helping me plan since my first year. So those are my two takeaways, I would say, like active communication with wherever you work, or and also like scheduling, like make sure you write it down, like when your assignments are due and how you plan on getting it done for the deadline.
Thanks, Carter.
Yeah. I quickly also wanted to add, Nas also kind of touch upon it, but in regards to finances, I cannot stress enough, but definitely apply to scholarships. scholarships are so crucial. I know at Boundbrook, I think during my senior year, we always make sure to check your email. I know Miss Jordan would always like hassle us, and she'll be like, "Come on, like check your emails." I send everything there. So definitely take advantage of that. Like during high school, I feel like it's a lot easier to, be a candidate where like the pool, like the scholarship pool is a lot smaller, because once you get into like university, the scholarship pool is a lot bigger. So I'm not saying it decreases your chances, but it is a lot more competitive. But these scholarships, like you could always use them towards your tuition, towards any needs that you need on campus. I was a commuter, and I know like going into my first year, I was able to get a few scholarships coming out of high school, and I actually invested into a car, which made it a lot easier because I have been commuting at Rutgers all my 4 years, so I knew that that was going to be a necessity for me at least. So these scholarships, they're very great. They have saved me so many times. They help me pay my tuition. So definitely, if you can, like look for scholarships not only like within your university but also within your major. That would be one, and then two. I feel like we haven't really stressed it enough here, or we haven't really set up at it a lot. But it's okay to change your majors along the way. Like trust me, like people change their majors all the time. I personally before like going into Rutgers, my initial idea was to actually pursue a major in computer science, and I'm so far away from coding now. So it's okay to, take that time to explore. I think, depending on the school, you don't really declare your major until the end of your freshman year, or even like the end of your sophomore year. I think there's a few schools where you don't even declare until your junior year. So definitely take that time to not only explore the different majors, but also explore what you want to do, like in the future, like in the long run. And I think those would be my two biggest takeaways as well.
Thanks, Daniela. Any other questions from the students that are currently on? Any other insight from the panelists or even the current staff members at Boundbrook?
Yeah, I got a question. I'm Josh. I'm currently a junior at Boundbrook. I wanted to ask, like, with the work in college, like, how does that differ, or like, how does it change from jumping from high school to college? Like, is it like a more of a workload? Is it less of a workload, or does it like depend on what classes you're taking?
I can answer this. Definitely does depend on some classes, but it's definitely a heavier workload. And at least for me, like when you complete all the assignments that you're given and you're like, okay, I'm done, like I have nothing due. Like there's just like always something due for at least me. Like you get your syllabus in the beginning of the semester and you see everything you're gonna have due, and like there's just always something. There's always something posted, always something you need to work on. Some assignments are a semester long assignment, like a research paper. So it's definitely a heavier workload, and that's why you definitely need to time manage to figure out when you're going to complete it, when you're going to work on it, when you're going to study. So, yeah.
Bouncing back to what Cam said, every class is really different in its own way. Some class, it'll just be like a longer lecture with less work. Some is a shorter lecture with a lot more work. So I had a couple classes where we had one whole assignment for the whole semester. I mean, saying it out loud, it's like, oh, it's just one assignment, but there's a lot of parts in that specific assignment. So honestly, read the rubric that they lay out for you, like the whole syllabus. It really does tell you step for step the weeks that you're going to be in and what assignments is going to be in that week and that week. So that'll definitely guide you through it. I know my biggest takeaway from, classes, besides the fact that, like Cam said, we have an assignment after assignment after assignment. It does suck. But my biggest thing was the problems that happen outside of college. It's like for me, the work was okay, but it's everything that happens outside of school. Like dealing with work, dealing with time management, dealing with family. You might have to watch your siblings or your dog, or you might have to go here or go there. So your biggest trials and tribulations do happen outside of school. And the way you manage that, it is going to actually take place and just show you all the steps you need to do your work. So for example, if you have a heavy problem that's family oriented and you find a good way to get through that, that's going to make you stronger in the long run. So when you have an essay that's through, you're like, man, this is cake. I could do this because I was able to do that. So if you can get through something big like that, you can get through something like an essay. So yeah.
Good responses, right? I think two things that Cam and Nas both brought up. Cam talking about the syllabus that you get at the beginning of the semester for all of your classes, and then Nas talking about how you have those semester-long projects. I think those 2 points from both of you kind of ties into something important that Cardell also brought up about planning, right? And using that calendar that he has to the right side of him and making sure that you're organized, right? So those of you that are listening right now, that aren't here right now or might be listening later, is take that advice from them and start applying that now in high school, right? Some high school might be a little bit easy for some people and it might be harder for others, but you got to attack it. You got to have a game plan. And if you're able to stay organized and start planning now, it's only going to help you in the future, right? Whether it's you go to college right after high school, you go to a 2-year college, or even if you just get right into the workforce, you have a lot of things to juggle, whether it's just your job, whether it's just college, or you're tying in things from outside of those two aspects, whether with your family, right? So you have a lot of things going on and you have to start to figure out how to plan if you haven't already done so. So I think Cam and Nas, it's a good point bringing up the syllabus and how it's different with your academics in college, and Cardell tying it into Cardell of planning and using a calendar. So, take note of that, guys.
Thank you. There was a question from Wilson. I talked a little bit about ESL classes. I don't think anyone on the panel right now is an ESL student, but if anyone has any experience with some of their friends that were either at Bound Brook in the ESL program that pursued higher education, or that are at their institution that are English as second language speakers. I know at my school we had international students, and their perspective or their experience was a little bit different than mine. So I don't know if you guys had any friends that were in the ESL program at Bound Brook, or have any like classmates now or people that on campus that have kind of gone through that program and maybe how that was a little bit different for them. I know it's kind of a specific question.
I don't think that I've heard of any like ESL specific classes, but I know there are plenty of resources, like at least at Rutgers. Like depending on the different deans or what you want to talk about, there's always like someone that to like translate for you, or someone that's bilingual. Alongside, there's different like support systems or support groups or organizations that really cater towards Hispanic students or Latinx students. And they could always help you out as well. They're also very knowledgeable, especially like upperclassmen and like mentors. Hopefully I'm answering it correctly. If that's like kind of where the question is going. But that I know of personally, I don't know if there's like ESL classes, but I know there's definitely a lot of resources that one can look into.
So kind of going off of that at the collegiate level, I think you definitely also want to use like some resources such as like the Writing Center. Like at my school, the Writing Center, they have a policy where you just like sign up and just go basically to your appointment. So that's another resource. Like if you think that writing might not be your strong suit. I also went there too a couple of times to get like further guidance. So yeah, definitely use your resources with that. I think that's all I wanted to say.
Thanks, Cardell. I know specifically at RVCC, there are classes that aren't English 101. They're kind of just below that. So at the collegiate level, you can take classes that are not for credit. And it just brings you to kind of where you need to be successful in those English 101 classes. So that's specifically with RVCC. We've worked with some ESL students that have started their collegiate career there. But each university is going to be a little bit different on how they support their students that don't speak English as their first language. Are there any other questions from the students or any other points from the panelists or the current staff members at Bound Brook? I think this was a pretty good starting point. I really appreciate kind of everybody's time today, especially the college students. I know how your schedule is so busy. Moving forward, hopefully this gains a little bit of traction and the students start showing up and requesting this. If you guys would like to be panelists moving forward, I think your experiences and ability to talk about it is pretty awesome. And, we appreciate your time. The students that are on this call, thank you for showing up. And anyone that's watching this on Google Classroom kind of after, if you have questions specifically, reach out to Mr. Abusato or myself. And if the panelists are comfortable, maybe we'll get some email contact information and they can ask you questions specifically if maybe they thought of something and wanted to address Naz or Daniela or Cameron or Cardell. So we'll try to do that moving forward to open up the lines of communication. But again, just wanted to say thank you to the panelists and the students that are attending. These students came from Bound Brook, they came from your seats, and they're all doing really great things. So it's awesome to see you guys, the college students, doing so well. It makes Mr. Abusato and I proud, and all the teachers proud too. So keep doing what you're doing. Know that Bound Brook will always be your home, and we'll always be here to support you. So when things get a little bit better, check in, say hello, visit us. And I think all you guys have my contact information, Mr. Abusato. So let us know what you're doing and what you're up to and all the things you're being successful with. And again, thank you so much. I don't know, Mr. Abusato, if you had anything.
Yeah, I mean, I think Ryan, in a way, kind of said it perfectly. Appreciate you guys coming out. Don't forget where you're coming from, right? And keep us in mind and keep doing what you're doing. We're super proud of you guys. So keep it up. It's nice to have you guys here to show, the underclassmen, our juniors, our seniors, what their opportunities can be for the future as well. So it was nice of you guys to take that time out and join us today. We are very appreciative of it. And like Mr. Ryan Hanaway said, stay in contact. We love hearing from you guys, and we love hearing success stories. So keep up the good work, guys. All right.
Yeah, we hope that, thank you to the panelists. We hope that your different college experience right now goes back to a normal college experience for you all. Great job. We really appreciate it, and good luck going forward.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
Thank you as well.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, thank you. It was really nice to meet more staff of Bound Brook High School and the future of Bound Brook as well.
Thank you, guys. I'll send this to you guys individually so you guys can see it, and then I'll post it on Classroom. Hopefully talk to everybody soon. Have a happy New Year, guys, okay?
All right.
Take it easy, everyone.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye, everyone.